Oh, the angel Gabriel prophesied to the day Jesus' triumphal entry into Jerusalem 500 years before it happened. The book of Daniel is codified in the Septuagint. The Septuagint, like it stated, LXX, was completed by 70 Jewish scholars at the request of Ptolemy, not Ptolemy, Ptolemy of Philadelphus, 283 BC, to convert the Old Testament into Greek. By the way, most brain-dead heathens question the dating of the book of Daniel, because if it was written approximately 500 BC, then good night, Irene. And it is. Good night, Irene. The current research places it approximately 600 to 500 BC. It's moot anyway. See the codification of LXX at 283 BC. So, and there's copies of the Septuagint that exist. I think there's 3 or 5. It's one of those two. But anyway, let's get to this. This will put some hair on your back. Daniel 9:25. Daniel 9:25 and through Daniel 9:27 it is an eschatologist framework. Just to let you know, but I digress. So Daniel 9:25. Know therefore and understand that from the going forth of the commandment to restore and to build Jerusalem unto the Messiah the Prince shall be 7 weeks and 62 weeks. The street shall be built again, and the wall even in troublous times. The scripture above just gave us an equation from and unto. So there are 70 weeks of years. That's known as Daniel's 70 weeks. We in our current time are in the interval between the 69th week and the 70th week. Once that 70th week hits, the last 7-year period, well, that's for another study. Verse 27, I'm gonna speak to it here below briefly. Verse 25 is astounding because the angel Gabriel is predicting, now this isn't a scientific prediction, he's prophesizing, I should say, when Jesus will ride into Jerusalem and pronounce his kingship for the first time. That's called the triumphal entry, which just happened to be April 6th, 32 AD. Let's see how accurate Gabriel was with his message 500 years before it happened. Just in case you're wondering about the 360-day year below, that's how the Bible treats years from Genesis to Revelation. Let's continue. 7 weeks and 62 weeks. That equals 69 weeks. 69 weeks times 7 days in a week times 360 days is 173,880 days. From the decree to rebuild Jerusalem to Jesus' triumphal entry. The decree to rebuild Jerusalem was ordered by Artaxerxes Longimanus, 14 March 445 BC. See Sir Robert Anderson. He was an assistant commissioner of Scotland Yard. He went chasing this down, and it's in his book, The Coming Prince. From 445 BC to 32 AD is 173,740 days. From March 14th to April 6th is 24 days. So that gives us 173,764 days. Shocking how close it was. Prophecy was 173,880 days. Reality, 173,764 days. God was close. Good try. But wait. What did we forget? Yeah, that's right. Leap year days. How many were they? Well, that would exactly be 116 days. So 173,764 days plus 116 days is 173,880 days. Hit it right on the mark. What was the angel Gabriel's margin of error, people? 0. You even maths, bruh. This is quite sobering. Another prophecy. Question. Why was Jerusalem destroyed in 70 AD? That's not rhetorical. It gives you the answer in Luke. Luke 19:41 through 44. Why are you going up? Go down. Thank you. Slower. Down. Stop. Luke 19:41 through 44. And when he was come near, he beheld the city and wept over it, saying, If thou hadst known, even thou, at least in this thy day, the things which belong unto thy peace, but now they are hid from thine eyes. For the day shall come upon thee that thine enemies shall cast the trench about thee, and compass thee round, and keep thee in on every side, and shall lay thee even with the ground, and thy children with thee, and they shall not leave one stone upon another. Because, there's the key, right? Because, why you think? Yep. Thou knewest not the time of thy visitation. Uh-oh. The Creator held them accountable to no scripture prophecy. Gives a whole new meaning to Bible study, eh? Yep. They were required to know that prophecy from Daniel. There's a couple other ones. There's one in Zechariah too that dovetails with that one, but they were required to know it. 38 years later, Titus Vespasian, commanding the 5th, 10th, 12th, and 15th Roman legions, surrounded the city, then utterly destroyed it. Note, over 3 million Jews died. However, Christians heeded this prophecy and escaped to the mountains right outside of Jerusalem when the Romans were encompassing the city. Remember, compass thee round? Yeah, they took note of what Jesus said. There was a 9-month delay in the attack. Titus Vespasian's father was commanding when Nero, the Roman emperor, committed suicide in Rome. So he, Titus Vespasian's father, returned to become emperor, and his son Titus, which is an Antichrist type, eventually led the attack. This gave the Christians enough time to get out of Dodge. Interesting note number 2. Antiochus IV Epiphanes, an Antichrist type himself, who in 167 BC entered the Holy Temple in Jerusalem, plundered the temple, forbade religious practices, ordered all the scriptures burned, slaughtered a pig on the altar, raised the statue of Zeus, which resulted in the Maccabean revolt. All that was called the abomination of desolation. Now, I termed it 1 to differentiate it from 2. Okay, so don't these are not official 1s and 2s. Okay, so don't hold me to that. I just used them to differentiate the 2. For your information, Titus Vespasian, that Roman general, was a blood relative of Antiochus IV Epiphanes. Now, what does that mean? I'll leave that up to my reader. So the abomination of desolation too, see what happened was the abomination of desolation took place in history, even Jesus in his history, but he's pointing to a future action of the same event with the abomination of desolation in Daniel. So the abomination of desolation 2 will occur in the middle of Daniel's 70th week. I should have put the scriptures in here, but I already made mention to them. Instead of 9:25 in Daniel, look at 9:26 and 9:27, and it'll explain this, what I'm about to tell you. The abomination of desolation 2 will occur in the middle of Daniel's 70th week. The real Antichrist will enter the temple, the Holy of Holies, and pronounce himself God. Then what will happen? Well, Matthew tells you, when ye therefore shall see the abomination of desolation, spoken of by Daniel the prophet, stand in the holy place, whoso readeth, let him understand that let them which be in Judea flee into the mountains. Let him which is on the housetop not come down to take anything out of his house. What in the world does that mean? We're going to circle back to that one because it's a gem. I digress. Neither let him which is in the field return back to take his clothes. And woe unto them that are with child, and to them that give suck in those days. But pray ye that your flight be not in the winter, neither on the Sabbath day. For then shall be great tribulation, such as was not since the beginning of the world to this time, no, never shall be. So it's going to get real quick with that abomination of desolation. Now back to this little gem. I read this many times, and it always struck me as, why would you say that? What is he saying? Like, people, maybe one or two, maybe, I don't know, 10 in the entire city, what do? Fixing their rooftops? I just found it strange, right? You know what's not quite so strange? See, in current Jerusalem, in current times, I should say, not current, like not this week, that, you know how Americans, we have our backyards and barbecue grills, and we have our games and stuff that we do that? See, Jews don't have that. They don't have the space. So what they do is they have family gatherings and parties and things on their, like, rooftops, or on their, what do they call those? They're not permanent structure. Well, they're not permanent structures here, but like awnings, but they are permanent there. You follow what I'm saying? That's why this is such a gem. You guys follow that? Because that doesn't make any sense, right? Unless you can see the future. See, this is a good lesson. I'm glad we went down this road. Because it's these things, when you come across passages like this, you're like, well, wait a second. Why even say that? That seems like it's out of place, right? They're all throughout Scripture. Go whenever you get there, or some mundane, what you would call too much detail into a mundane topic. Dig there, dig right there, because there's something in there, right? And this happens in Numbers 2. And I ran through Numbers 2 a bunch of times, and I'm like, oh, God, I got to go through this again. And obviously, the book's called Numbers, so there's a lot of numbers. But it seems like they're over-detailing these mundane things. Right? And I'd like, oh, God, let me get past this. But one smart aleck thought that he dug there. Right? And if you go to Numbers 2 and you take all the numbers of all the people in the camps and you arrange them in the dimensions that are spoken of, that's written in Numbers 2, guess what you get? If you flew up in a helicopter, you would see this. See, this is what I'm talking about, people. Yeah, this is a couple thousand years before crucifixion was even a thing. We're in Numbers. We're way back there. Right? That's what I'm talking about. That's the lesson for today. Oh, God, now I got to get back to him. Hey, but thank you for allowing me to share that with my audience. Glue-sniffing fungus muncher.
Evolutionary biology.
Hope you enjoyed that video. I'm going to link Quantum Eraser's information in the details of this video, or in the comments. I don't know, sometimes I have problems sharing links in the details. But y'all be blessed. Be the change you want to see on Flat Earth. Much love. See you guys in the next video.